And we're back with the mastermind of the Warfield Shield, Nate Edmondson.
Thanks for having me on here, Jo Beth.
Good to be with you.
Thank you.
All right, let's get started. What initial thought made you want to start this rival game?
Well, the initial thought was just we had never beaten Clarksville High before, and so my senior year, I was really just looking for an opportunity to kind of create a lot of momentum for our school, and I thought the best way to do that is just make this game as big of a deal as possible and then beat Clarksville High.
You want it to be a shield? Is that the initial?
No, the initial idea was just to create some kind of trophy that would go back and forth between the two schools. And so that's really the only idea that I had at that point. And so I messaged Laura Martin on Facebook, and she was the student body president at Clarksville High at the time, and said, hey, this is the idea. I'd love to have this trophy thing that goes back and forth. Would you like to meet sometime? And I'll bring some of my people, you bring some of your people, and we'll figure out what we should call this thing. And just kind of threw a bunch of ideas around. And initially, it was going to either be called 931 Turf War or the Moose Bowl.
The Moose Bowl.
And nobody was really settling on that. And after we'd been there for like 3 hours, we started texting other people to get their input. Mm-hmm. And it was actually Katie Snyder, who was the daughter of Clarksville High's coach at the time, who said, what if you called it Warfield? Because Warfield Boulevard connects the two schools. Okay. Then it became really clear after that what the trophy thing should be, because nothing sounds better than the Warfield Shield.
Warfield Shield. Okay. Where did you find the materials to make this shield?
Well, I just kept saying we need a massive shield. That was what I kept saying. And so I had actually been looking online to try to find a shield, and I couldn't find one that I wanted to be able to look at it before I bought it because they were expensive. I was driving around different pawn shops, and I was actually at Pack Rats on Fort Campbell Boulevard, and I was just asking them if they had any shields because I thought this is a military place. They might have some shields. And there was a guy in line actually who overheard me saying that and just said, hey, I heard you were looking for a shield. A buddy of mine sells these old medieval shields at the flea market on Saturday mornings. We all went to the flea market at like 5:30 or 6 on Saturday morning.
What did the shield originally look like?
It was originally like mustard yellow and had trophy emblems of like a bird and a cat on it. So there was actually a group of people who wanted to keep it yellow and leave it exactly the way it was. There's absolutely no way that that's going to happen. So I took the shield to Miss Bryant, and she painted it black, and then I took it to Sporty's Awards or whatever, and they put the C and the R on it.
So do you remember anything from that football game that night?
Honestly, one of the only things I remember about the football game is Clarksville High scored first. Okay. And I remember thinking, this is going to be really embarrassing if we lose this thing. Yeah. Then I just remember everybody running on the field after the game. That was awesome.
What does it mean to you that this tradition is still carried on today?
Honestly, I think it's awesome. More so than the fact that I got to be the one to start it, though. I'm just excited that it's something that everybody in Clarksville kind of knows about. So to me, the coolest part is just that Ross U students and Clarksville High students get another game that matters and that they really care about.
So since you were student body president at the time, you had a speech to pump up the students at the pep rally, right?
Yeah, I gave it.
What impact did this leave on that night's game?
I don't know. I don't want to take credit for the victory or whatever, but I will say night of the first Warfield game, or the night before, Clarksville High had dug a giant paw print in our field. There was talk that the game was going to be moved to Clarksville High. So the atmosphere at Ross U that day was unlike anything that I've ever experienced. When we came into the pep rally that afternoon, it was one of the most electric environments that I've been around. And so when I was giving the speech, I started yelling about how much I hated Clarksville High and how much the shield was going to be like the starting point for something new, because we'd never beaten them before. And the shield represented how now there's an opportunity to beat them for the first time ever. After all of those events, there was no way we were going to lose that game.
Right. Well, thank you for joining us, Nate. Do you have any last input on the Warfield Shield?
Just win the shield.
All right. We'll do our best.